Corrected full text before Anna could even place the candles on her 18th birthday cake. The diary hidden in the cherry wood box delivered a crushing blow. It contained love letters from her father Thomas to Isabel, dated 3 years before her parents' marriage. And the line "I can't escape this family arranged marriage" lay pressed beneath the still damp tear stains of her mother Katarzyna. To make matters more ironic, just as she clenched the note that read "Essence steel fumes will trap you until her palms sweated," her father's voice echoed from the hallway, "Anna, come meet and Isabel. She's traveled all the way from Paris to celebrate your birthday." As a lock of golden curls brushed past the entryway vase, the lavender scent clinging to Isabel made Anna's fingertips tingle. It was the same fragrance that always lingered on her English teacher's lesson plans and the faint, elusive aroma that had clung to the paper her mother had gripped in the kitchen on that rainy night 3 years earlier. Isabel smiled as she handed over a gift box, a silver chain peeking out from the cuff of her camel coat. The pendant was a miniature steel furnace, etched with the exact same pattern as the paperweight in her father's study. "I heard you love French poetry." Her Parisian lilt coated in sugar, she added, "just like I taught you back then." Anna dug her nails into the old scar on her palm. The burn mark her mother had gotten from a stove fire while boiling medicine during Anna's 7th birthday fever was still there, and now it blurred into the faint scar visible on the back of Isabel's neck. So those rainy nights when her mother had always blamed onions stinging her eyes hadn't been about housework at all. They had been hiding a secret shared by 2 women, all centered on Thomas. "The cake's going to melt," Katarzyna suddenly spoke up. The apple pie in the oven was already emitting a burnt smell, but she made no move to turn it off. Anna watched the burn scar on her mother's right ring finger tremble the same way it had trembled when Anna had knocked over a scalding bowl of medicine onto her hand years before. Thomas rubbed his hands together, trying to smooth over the tension, the steel mill badge on his cufflink glinting harshly. "Isabel's here to discuss an education collaboration. It just so happens to coincide with your birthday." "Is that so?" Anna slammed the diary onto the dining table. The yellowed letter inside slid across the table to Isabel. "Then can you explain why, when you received this letter in 1989, you hid it in my mother's poetry collection?" The air froze instantly. Isabel's silver pendant clattered against the china plate. Thomas's wine glass wobbled, spilling red wine that seeped into the letter, leaving a dark stain like the toxic wastewater flowing from the steel mill's drains. Katarzyna suddenly laughed and reached for the oven mitts, yet her fingers first brushed the lock on the cherry wood box, a lock she had never let Anna touch in 18 years. Anna's first encounter with Isabel had been in her 7th grade English class. When the teacher walked into the classroom, her golden curls still dusted with Essence steel ash, she had insisted on reading 星号 Romeo and Juliet 星号 in her Parisian accent. When she reached the line "I would die upon a kiss," her gaze had drifted over the textbook and settled on the steel mill chimneys outside the window. Back then, Anna hadn't known that the 1947 limited edition fountain pen the teacher always kept in her pocket was a matching pair to the one in her father's desk drawer. The I.D. engraved at the bottom of the pen wasn't short for identification, it stood for Isabel Dubois. "When I married into this family, everyone in Essen was saying I'd pick up what Miss Dubois had discarded." Katarzyna's voice drifted over, her knuckles white as she clenched the oven mitts. Anna snapped back to the present to find Isabel staring at her palm, the same palm that bore a burn scar similar to the one on the back of Isabel's neck. Anna had gotten it the previous year, when she helped her mother move a model steel furnace and the base had scalded her. "You like messing with these too?" Isabel's fingertips had almost touched Anna's hand before Katarzyna stepped between them with a cake server. "Thomas, get out your cigars," Katarzyna said in a flat tone that made Thomas freeze instantly. He pulled a wooden box from his suit's inner pocket, and Anna read the label, "For the strictest English teacher," dated the day before Isabel had been transferred away. "So all those times you kept me after class to punish me, you were just waiting for him to bring you cigars." Anna's voice tightened as she recalled being forbidden to take a day off from school when she had a 39-degree fever at 12. Isabel had told her, the daughter of a steelworker shouldn't be so delicate. Now she finally understood the cruelty in that word. Delicate had been nothing but hostility toward her mother. Isabel suddenly stood up, slamming a brown paper bag onto the floor. Newspaper clippings spilled out. The headline "星号 Essen Steelworks accused of falsifying emissions data" 星号 searing into their eyes. Tucked beside it was an investment loss notice for exactly 2 million euros. "I didn't come here to steal a man," her mascara smashed into panda eyes as she fixed Thomas with a fierce glare. "I came to take back what's mine, the Paris apartment you promised me, and my lungs ruined by the steel mill's pollution. Lung cancer. Katarzyna burst out laughing and pulled up a photo on her phone. It showed Isabel skiing in the Alps the previous month, a cigarette dangling from her lips, her smile bright and unclouded. Should I send this to Xinhao Lu Figaro Xinhao? The headline could read lung cancer patient's ski vacation. She tossed the phone onto the table. When the screen lit up, Anna saw the wallpaper, a drawing she had made at age 5, a red house with pink smoke drifting from its chimney, captioned a gift for mom. Thomas suddenly collapsed, clutching his chest, his cufflink rolling across the floor to Isabel's feet. As Anna knelt to help him, her hand brushed against a train ticket in his suit pocket, a one-way ticket from Paris to Essen, dated the previous day. You knew she was coming all along. Anna's voice trembled as she remembered her father saying the previous week that he needed to visit Paris to inspect environmental protection equipment. So that so-called inspection had really been a trip to meet his old lover. Old Joseph burst in, flustered, his wig askew on his nose. Sir, the environmental protection officers are at the gate. They said they have a tip and need to check the wastewater samples. Thomas struggled to stand, but Katarzyna pressed him back down. Calm down, she said, pulling a USB drive from the compartment of a photo frame, its metal casing cold to the touch. The real wastewater report is here. I already gave Isabel the fake one. Anna finally noticed that the photo in her mother's frame had been cut in half. It should have been her parents' wedding photo, but now only Thomas remained, standing in front of the steel mill's chimneys. You knew about him and Isabel this whole time. Anna dug her nails into the burn scar on her mother's hand, the same hand that still carried the warmth of that scalding medicine ball from years before. Katarzyna didn't flinch. She simply tucked the USB drive into Anna's hand. The records of his 1992 bribe to the councilman all to get the steel mill inheritance are on there too. Her voice was soft, yet it landed like a slab of steel. I kept all this not for revenge, but to let you see how much rust lies beneath this family's shiny surface. When old Joseph escorted Isabel to the living room, she was still clutching that investment loss notice. 2 million euros, or I'll expose the emissions fraud to the press. Her high heels crushed Anna's 5-year-old drawing, the crayon marks sticking to her sole of her shoe like an unhealed wound. You think Thomas will still protect you? Katarzyna set down a cup of coffee, flour dusted on its rim. She had been kneading dough in the kitchen, her knuckles wet from the effort. Of course he will. Isabel pulled a voice recorder from her bra. I still have the recording of our conversation in the warehouse back then. Anna suddenly remembered the abandoned warehouse she had wandered into at 12. Graffiti on the wall had read T+I forever, and she had thought it was just a prank by the workers. Now she understood it had been a secret mark left by her father and Isabel. You were there too, the night the warehouse burned, Katarzyna said, setting her coffee cup down so hard that the liquid inside sloshed onto Isabel's hand. Isabel jerked back, exposing the scar on her neck more clearly. It had been left by that same fire, the very same fire that had given Katarzyna the burn on her hand. You think I wanted to save you? Katarzyna's voice trembled. I never would have given you the only fire extinguisher if you hadn't been carrying his child. The USB drive slipped from Anna's hand with a clatter. A child. Her gaze darted from Isabel's stomach back to her mother's face. Her mother had never mentioned she had a sibling. Isabel's face turned deathly pale, the voice recorder tumbling under the sofa. The child didn't survive, she said, her voice hoarse as if choked by steel dust. I had a miscarriage after the fire. Thomas said save the steel mill first and send me back to Paris. She suddenly grabbed Anna's wrist, her nails digging into her skin. You know what? The day you were born, he sent me a card. It said our daughter has your eyes. That's enough. Thomas suddenly roared, yanking a checkbook from his briefcase. His pen scraped across the paper with a shrill sound. 2 million euros, I'll sign it right now. His hand shook so violently that the pen pierced the paper. But you have to promise never to appear in Anna's life again. Katarzyna suddenly pressed her hand over his. Wait, she said, pulling a stack of bank transfer receipts from her apron pocket. Each one was made out to Isabel, signed by Thomas, dating back from 1990 to the previous year. You've already given her more than 2 million euros over the years. She threw the receipts in Isabel's face. You're not blackmailing Thomas, you're clinging to the pathetic remains of your old romance. Tears finally spilled from Isabel's eyes, dropping onto the receipts. I thought he still loved me, her voice wavered like a broken cat. Last year, when I was diagnosed with lung nodules, I messaged him. All he replied was drink more hot water. She suddenly laughed, her golden hair swinging wildly with the movement. Turns out I'm not even worth as much as a single chimney in his steel mill. The screech of car brakes came from outside. Officers from the Environmental Protection Agency burst in, holding a search warrant. We have a tip and need to inspect the wastewater samples. Katarzyna handed the real USB drive to the lead officer, her face expressionless. This contains the Class Steelworks real wastewater test reports from the past 3 years, plus the 1992 bribery records. Thomas's face drained of all color. He collapsed onto the sofa, his tie coiled around his neck like a noose. You planned this all along. Thomas's voice was hoarse, his eyes fixed on Katarzyna as if she were a stranger. Since the first night you heard me call Isabel's name in my sleep, Katarzyna replied, her fingertips brushing the clipped photo in the frame. When I married you, I knew this family was a cage. But I couldn't let Anna be trapped here too. Anna suddenly remembered the French poetry collection in the attic. Her mother had written on the title page, a girl must be like steel, able to withstand forging, yet still bloom on her own. Her mother had been paving the way for her all along. Those secrets hidden in the diary, those compromises that had seemed like surrender, they had all been to give Anna a chance to escape Essen's steel fumes. Isabel left without taking the 2 million euros, clutching the investment loss notice to her chest. As she reached the door, she glanced back at Anna, her lips moving but no words coming out. Old Joseph later said that before getting in her car, she had thrown the voice recorder into a trash can. When they checked it, all it contained was silence. Her so-called threat had never been anything more than a final attempt to see how Thomas would react. Thomas was taken away by the environmental protection officers for bribery and falsifying emissions data. Before leaving, he held out the 1947 limited edition fountain pen to Anna, the ID engraved on its barrel worn almost illegible. This was my engagement gift to Isabel, his voice cracked. Later, I found an identical one, wanting to give it to your mother but I never had the courage. Anna handed the pen back to him. You should keep it, she said, her gaze falling on the steel burn scar on his palm, the mark he had gotten working in the steel mill when he was young. Just like you kept those bank receipts and that train ticket. It's all part of your past, something you need to face. Katarzyna was in the kitchen, baking a new apple pie. Flour dusted the burn scar on her hand. Anna walked over and hugged her from behind, breathing in the familiar scent of apples. Mom, did you know the environmental officers would come? Katarzyna turned around and handed her a warm slice of apple pie, its crust crisp and sweet, just right. I reported them 3 months ago, Katarzyna said, her fingertips brushing the burn scar on Anna's palm. It took me a long time to find the 1992 bribery records. She paused, then pulled a stack of postcards from a drawer, all sent by Isabel. On the back of each one were notes about Paris's weather, and occasional messages. How's Anna's French pronunciation coming along? I heard she likes painting. Has she ever painted Paris's sky? You've been writing to her this whole time. Anna's voice trembled as she looked at the familiar handwriting, the same handwriting that had adorned the comments on the English assignments Isabel had made her copy all those years ago. 1 postcard every month, Katarzyna smiled, the wrinkles at the corners of her eyes softening. She loves you, really. She just never knew how to show it. Anna suddenly remembered Isabel's last English class. When teaching Xinghao Wuthering Heights Xinghao, she had said, some people's love is like a flame burning bright, but easily scorching itself. Others' love is like steel, quiet and strong, yet capable of protecting you for a lifetime. Her mother and Isabel had both loved her in their own way. One had paved a path for her with quiet perseverance, the other had watched over her with clumsy, secret care. The oven timer pinged, and the aroma of apple pie filled the kitchen. As Anna looked at the burn scar on her mother's hand, she suddenly understood those scars that had seemed ugly were actually precious medals. They had witnessed betrayal and compromise, and carried love and protection too. Outside the window, the steel mill's fumes gradually dispersed, revealing a clear blue sky just like the Parisian sky Isabel had drawn on those postcards. Next birthday, let's go to Paris, okay? Anna took a bite of the apple pie, the sweetness spreading across her tongue. Katarzyna nodded, her eyes glistening as she tucked a strand of hair behind Anna's ear. Her fingertips carried the same warmth they had held on every birthday for the past 18 years.